Today we have a very special guest, and I am learning how to have guests here on the eCam. So welcome in, welcome in. We have a very special episode for you, and I'm excited for you to be hanging out with us on the live show today. We're live. So what I want you to do is, if you're in a place to do so, grab your pen and paper and get ready to take lots of notes, because Judy has a lot of wisdom and insight she's going to be sharing. And Judy's been a friend of mine now for many years. Started mentoring Judy, I guess, in her real estate investing business back in 2020-ish, 2019?
19, 20, somewhere in there. Somewhere 19, in there. I think.
And Judy has an incredible background. She's a forensic chemist and done that for many years. She has a background owning businesses, teaching school, doing all sorts of things. I'll let you let her tell you about her. But I want you guys to get ready to take a lot of notes, because she's someone who not only has an incredible life to share in raising kids and now grandkids and just an amazing lady, but also has an enormous amount of wisdom when it comes to investing in real estate, and has done over 100 deals now and continues to do deals every single year to the tune of a lot. And I just love when I get to see Judy. She brings me so much energy. So if you don't mind, let's jump right in, Judy. Tell everybody who you are and where you're from and what you do.
Well, I'm Judy Sweeney. I grew up, and I am officially from Kentucky, but we are spending more and more parts of each year in Florida. So I kind of have dual homes, dual residence, which is nice, which is one of the things that real estate affords you to do. I don't have to sit at home when it's cold. I can be here, but then now it's getting up around 92 and above, so we're getting ready to head home in the next week or so.
I like that.
So it gives me that option. Yes.
So let's go back before real estate, back in the day, back when you worked at the police department and you taught school. Just give us a little bit of insight as to how it was raising a family, what you did, what you enjoyed about life. Just take us back a few dozen years.
Oh, well, that will be fun. I'll take you back a little bit more than that, because I grew up on a farm, and my dad could not read. He went through second grade twice. They didn't diagnose stuff back then, but he was dyslexic, so he couldn't learn to read, and his dad pulled him out to work. Coming through school, my mom had an 8th grade education. So education was not in my history. They also milked cows by hand. If you grew up on a farm, you might know about this. I decided early on I was not going to milk cows. So the only way not to do that, because they couldn't afford as tenant farmers to send me to college, was to get a scholarship. So I worked hard, got scholarships, went to college. Didn't know I was dyslexic until I was a senior in college. I just thought it was kind of a unique trait that I could read things upside down from me that was on the teacher's desk that she didn't really intend for kids to read. So coming through that, then I am graduated. I get a job in the forensic lab. That was fun. It was fun working there, going to court, testifying. There you really learn to be specific in what you said, and you didn't stretch the truth. And you also learn to speak with confidence. If that's the way it was, then that's the way it was. Coming on, we had children, and I left the lab when we had our first one because I wanted to be home to spend more time with them. Actually, I guess it was when the second one was when I was having him, because that way I could be home when the first one was getting out of school, and it fit with schedules. So my careers have changed with kids' schedules and with family requirements a lot. Then we came on through as teaching school. I did that for several years. We started a business, my husband and I. He had worked for somebody else, and I guess that entrepreneurial spirit's always back there. So we started an iron business from scratch. I did a lot of the design work and the drawings. and our kids were raised in that. They grew up, in a business. Not that we wanted them to take on that business, but it was a good training for them. And so family was always important. I have to tell you a funny story, and then we can come on up. Our oldest one was about probably 2. At that time, we had one of those old alarm clocks that you wind up, and it had it was like a memorabilia clock. It was a Mickey Mouse clock. And it had the 2 little bells on top and the little thing that would go back and forth in between the bells when the alarm goes off. They sound awful. And our routine was we would get up. When the alarm went off, I got up, went through the kitchen, put on like sausage or bacon or something on the stove to cook. I came back, hopped in the shower because I'm working in the lab. Bruce is working a job. I hop in the shower. He gets up when he hears me start the water, goes through the kitchen, turns whatever I've put on the stove. I get out of the shower, go back up, take it off, finish breakfast. We eat. We get ready. We get our son up to get dressed to go to the sitter. This morning we get up, we eat, and we look over and we're like, it's not getting daylight. It was 2 a.m. or 2:15. Yes, we didn't get up at that time. Our son had been playing with the alarm clock, and we didn't realize he had set the clock back. So he moved the alarm from 6:30 to 2:30 or 2:15.
You gained 4 hours that day.
Something like that. We looked at each other and I said, we won't use that alarm clock anymore. So that is when I started getting up without an alarm clock.
Wow.
I get up at 6 a.m. every morning, unless I choose to sleep later. And, so many people say, I can't get up. It's a matter of you decide what you're going to do.
This is good. This is good. Something that you guys notice, and we talk about it a lot on this show, and on today's podcast with Judy, we're going to be diving into this, but you get to choose the habits you take that will determine the life you make. And the habits you take on, the habits you start building off of will change that. And I love that you wake up without an alarm clock every morning. I knew that you wake up without an alarm every morning, but I didn't know where it all started. So now I know. I know the foundation of that.
So many things that we do, that we have made habits, we got pushed to the point that we did it out of necessity. And so because of that, then I started getting up early. It wasn't just that we decided one day, well, I'll get up on my own. Going back a little bit, though, I had the mom of one of my friends said, I never get up with an alarm clock. And I thought, and she got up early, and I thought, if she can do it, I can do it. And so that was my mentality. If she can, I can. And so I prayed, Lord, wake me up. Wake me up at this time. And I think sometimes we take on the mentality, well, if they could do it, they can do it, but I can't.
That's good.
Why
so let
can't
me ask you this. For you, going back, raising the kids, getting up at 2:30 with an alarm clock set wrong, raising the kids, doing all the work you did. Somebody's listening to this, and no matter what stage of life they're in, they're struggling. Because I know we'll get into the nitty gritty of the real estate investing and how you're doing that business today. But before we get there, what's the disciplines that you started developing? What's the things that Amanda and Marlon and whoever's listening to this, welcome, Les, good to see you. Whoever's listening to this can take away and say, there's something I can implement now to start the discipline so that in weeks, months, or a few years down the line, I can have done whatever your business is, a few hundred deals, or have done, gained clients, or have built the business and built the life I want. What's that 2 or 3 disciplines that somebody needs to start building now?
Probably one of the main things is be truthful to yourself. If you tell yourself you're going to do it, do it. and just be honest and live up to what you say, because that's one of the hardest ones to do, but it's one of the ones that will take you the most distance. Is, okay, if I'm going to get up, I'm going to get up. And if I ever don't get up that early, it's a conscious decision not to.
Yeah.
Or I'm sick. Another one is if you're going to do something for somebody, then follow through. Follow through and being truthful are probably two of the greatest disciplines that you can develop.
Follow through and being truthful. I like that. Mm-hmm. There's something to be said for someone, you guys who see me on this show every day, you hear me talk a lot about just showing up, just being the person who does what you say what you do, the person who doesn't give up, the person who gets knocked down because crap will happen, business will go sideways, a deal will fall through, the client will not come through. So there's always going to be a reason why you can stay in bed, why you can complain, why you can say this job sucks, this business sucks, something sucks. There's always a reason. But if we just choose to keep showing up and to refuse to give up and just make those smart adjustments, my gosh, the whole world can open up to us. Well, I'm so excited to be here together. So let's dive in a little deeper. I want to get into real estate because, after all, we have a substantial amount of real estate investors that listen here. And good to see you, Jazz. Welcome in. Amanda says, hi, Judy. Good to see you. Marlon, what's up, brother? Nice to see you on. Leo says, let's go. Les says, let's go, Judy. She actually says woo, but it's a bunch of O's, so I don't know how to pronounce that. Woo, let's go, Judy. And Jazz, so nice to see you, Josh. Josh was just at our Young Entrepreneurs event. So, Judy, when it comes to real estate investing, tell us a little bit about what your operation looks like. And then I want to get into some nitty-gritty writer downers and takeaways for anybody listening to this, things they can go implement in their real estate investing businesses. So what's your business look like?
Right now, my business looks like I have several rental doors that are single family. At one time, I had some multifamily units, and we sold those off several years ago. So right now, everything is single family. Do have a commercial property that's been rented for years. I have some that I have acquired and that are out on lease option. Some are disposed on land contracts. I have one we just closed on that I'm going back, and I already have a buyer lined up to see it as soon as I'm back in Kentucky. That I will probably, and I was thinking about one of the things you said earlier today about how much, what your time cost you. I can sell this one and make a decent amount on it, not what I would make dollar-wise if I kept it and improved it or put it out on a lease option. But I have no headaches. If we move this route, it's gone within a week of me getting home. And that time is gone, or is saved, and I have now the funds and the time to do something else. Today, I got called from he's a lender that he had to take back some properties. I bought some from him. He said, I have another property. Are you interested? And that is kind of how I picked up some of my rentals. I bought one. This was when I was doing the multifamily. The bank called and they said, I have another one. So as you build your network, things come to you. My team is made up of, I have 3 people that work with me on my team right now with acquisitions and dispo. So that really helps. I just got called and we went over deals for 3 properties just before I got on this with one of them. So that's kind of in a nutshell what my business looks like at the moment.
I love that. And I think something you said there, and every one of you listening to this, you're going to hear us talk a lot about this. And we get into business, we get into real estate, no matter what your business is, there's something I call MWAs, your minimum wage activities. And your time is the one thing you can't ever get back. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to getting a deal, we just sold a deal last week and we could have kept it and made another $50,000, but I don't do rehabs. And so we, quote, gave away that profit rather than fixing it, still made good money because we are protecting our time. We realize there's a lot more deals. Now, I have good friends who do lots of fix and flips. Some of our mastermind community does them. God bless them. But for me, I say, okay, this is the business model I want to build. And I see you doing more and more of that, Judy, and I love that. Something I find very cool about the business you've built is you don't have a big payroll. You don't have a big team. You just constantly network and meet people. Every meetup, every event, every event we've ever done, you've been at, with the exception of maybe a few meetups somewhere. And you just are always there, always connecting, always a person who people know. I can go to Judy and I can do deals with Judy. I know I can go to Judy and she's got the knowledge, right? And so, of course, you being one of the coaches now in our community is just so much fun working together. But my question for you is, as you're building this team, let's say somebody's listening to this and they're starting their team. Maybe they are just looking. You said you have 3 people who work with you. They're just looking for that first team member. What was the bridge for you to go from Judy, a one-woman band who closes a deal here and there, to now excited every day, because I see you often and every day you're glowing, and a person who has 3 great people working with you, not on payroll, but get paid as you get paid? Like, what's that transition been like?
It's been phenomenal because all of these had come with some experience, but they had maybe an area that they weren't as comfortable or as knowledgeable in, but they came with an area of expertise and a willingness to learn. So we've partnered together in not a big formal partnership, but more of a just an agreement that we're working together. And then as deals come in, depending on how much work they've put into it, then they're compensated accordingly. I fund the deals and they do a lot of the other work, because most people listening and that are coming in, their biggest drawback is they don't have the funds to fund a deal. They may find a really good deal, but they can't fund it. And so I've picked up some out of our community that have brought me deals that said, I have somebody that has this portfolio. Here's what I need. Are you interested? And so then I bought them that way. But just working with the team it's all performance based. So you can come on and say you're on my team, but if you're not bringing any deals to the table, you're not eating very well tonight from me because I'm not paying you. So if you're starting a team, don't let people sucker you into the idea that they have to have so many dollars an hour and that you've got to furnish them an office and all of these things. If they've got a laptop or even a smartphone, they can do most of the work that needs doing. And now you will need to pay somebody for some professional services like accounting and things like that. But that's not usually a full-time.
That's usually a part-time gig, especially in the early stages.
Or it's somebody that you hire that does like your taxes and things like that, and you do the rest of it, keeping up with it yourself.
Now, as you've been building your company, what's the biggest thing? So we have some on here who are not real estate investors, some who are. But what's been the thing that has surprised you most? You've ran other businesses in the past. What's the thing that surprised you most about creative real estate investing, buying under finance, selling lease option, putting all the deals together like you are always doing?
I find it easy because it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's fun because you're finding solutions that meet other people's needs, because a lot of the times we're finding a solution to somebody that they feel hopeless or they think there's no solution. We bring them the solution, and in bringing that, they make money and we make money. Or they keep from having their credit dinged with a bankruptcy. Uh, they get out of, a mortgage with back debt on it. Or it's somebody that has an extra house that they've inherited and they don't know what they're going to do with it. And so it's fun when you can walk in and help those people find a solution. But it's really fun when by finding that solution, you get a good check for it. And it didn't really come out of their pocket. It came out of being able to structure it to work. I wasn't giving them a bill.
Go ahead.
I said I wasn't giving them a bill. I found a solution for them. Many times they got a check even from me if it was one that they had equity that needed paying out. I got the house and then I turned around and I made my money off that.
I like that perspective because I think there's a belief among some people, and it's one I used to have, that in order for me to make money, it had to come out of someone else's pocket. So I almost felt bad at times to make money when I was starting. Now I realize that is not the case. There is a velocity of money, a flow of money that happens. And I can do a deal. I can buy it. I can sell it to you. I can make some money because you know a creative way. You can resell it. You can make money. The person we bought it from wins. I win. You win. The buyer wins. Everybody can win. And I think no matter what business you're in, when you start to understand that exchange, for you listening to this, once the exchange of value and the understanding that money is just energy, money is a note that we trade in return for value of some sort that's given, it becomes so much more fun because selling is serving. And that's something I see you do. You do it at every event. You do it everywhere we go. You do it at the meetups. You do it in your real estate business. You do it with sellers. You do it with buyers. You just show up and serve. And by the way, you get paid really well to do it. So I love that perspective. What's some other things that you think is common misconceptions about real estate investing the creative way in today's market?
I think a lot of people are still operating under a mindset of scarcity.
Tell me about that.
Well, if I found a deal, I'm afraid to share it with somebody because they might want to steal my deal. Or, I can't market it. They can't market it or share because that's the last deal there is. They don't know when there's going to be another one coming down the pike.
Yeah.
And so they just operate out of scarcity instead of realizing it's an abundance. And like you said, money is energy. And as long as we realize that and we realize we're operating in a mindset of abundance, it's there. It just like today, I got the call from the investor or the lender that says, hey, we've got another property that the guy you had that you bought those others from, and he's not able to move forward with it. Do you want it? Now, I think it's a pretty big, going to need a good bit of rehab, but I told him I'll investigate it. I'm going to put it out in our circle because I think there's somebody in there that would probably like to take it and rehab it. It's not going to be me, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I moved the property for him. He's going to give them creative terms. I've already got that worked out.
I love that. And that, I think, is where it shows up. For any of you listening to this, you're hearing Judy talk about putting deals together like it's just second nature, because it has become second nature. I've watched you just step into that where it's just fun for you, and you're playing a game. You're trading energy, you're adding value, and you're hanging out with people you enjoy hanging out with to build a life you desire. And I love that. What's somebody listening to this is going through maybe a tough time. Maybe they're trying to figure out how they can get deals. Maybe they're trying to figure out how to make more sales in their business. What's a mental shift or a habit shift that you think would help somebody start finding that flow for them? What's a way that in the next 30 days they could have made added value? Let me re-ask the question. What's a way somebody listening to this could add value in the marketplace in such a way they make an extra $10,000 in the next 4 weeks?
As long as they are giving to other people it will come back. But one thing I was going to say when you started asking the question earlier that came to mind is listen to yourself. Many times when we talk with broke mentality. And we put those words in there that we do not make the seller or the person we're dealing with feel comfortable. So if they can't trust us and they aren't comfortable dealing with us, it's going to be no. So you have to sound trustworthy. You have to sound confident in what you're doing and carry out what you told them you would do. If you said, I'll call you back tomorrow afternoon between 5 and 7, call them back tomorrow afternoon between 5 and 7. So follow through and consistency is one thing. If you're looking to make, now are we talking about people looking to make an extra 10 in real estate?
In anything, but yeah, it could be a principle that applies to real estate.
Well, I mean, it could apply to anything. Look and see what's needed and see if you can find a way to meet that need. You get paid for solving problems. Almost, if you're in any kind of service industry, you're getting paid, and we're in a service industry. We're in the service of moving properties from one to another. If you're in the service of whatever, teaching, you're in the service of trading a product or a good for something else. Doesn't have to be money. It didn't used to be money. I mean, it used to be chickens and pigs and everything else, but I can't really see carrying a pocket full of chickens around.
Not no more.
So, no, and it used to be cash. You used to carry cash, and now it's plastic.
Yeah.
So things are moving, but it's a matter of we're trading a product for a service. Used to be you had to do it face to face, and that's what's so amazing now is how much we can do virtually. We can do anywhere in the country. Like I didn't go ahead and tell you that the deal I got offered was in Iowa. It's not in our little local community.
Now, I know a lot of people watching this already know how to do it virtually, but somebody might be going, wait, you're in Kentucky part of the time, you're in Florida part of the time, and you're doing a deal in Iowa. How in the world do you do that? Not seeing the property, not, what if you buy one and it's a load of crap and they lied to you?
That's a chance you take if you're talking to people, but there are precautions you can take to ensure it. I have 4 right now in Iowa and Illinois that I've never seen. They are all rented. They came in as rental properties. I talked to the tenants. I even had the tenants go through and send me some pictures because the seller wasn't local to them either. So I wanted to see some local pictures. And I actually had one of them that I really wanted to see what it looked like. I had them get on their phone and FaceTime with me. And we did a walkthrough. And I'm like, back up, let me see this. So there's somebody that will walk you through to look at it. That's not a big deal that you haven't seen the property. In fact, I use that technique a lot of the times, even when they're close, if I don't want to go see them.
That's a powerful tool and a great way of thinking, because most of the properties that we buy, I never see, never have, never will, because they pay just the same whether you've seen them or not. So it's not about us seeing them, you listening to this, being a real estate investor. It's not about you seeing them. It's about, is it a good asset that is going to make me money over time? And once we understand the end objective and the result, and I'm telling you, no matter your business or life, there is some things you've been doing with just a minor shift of thought around it, you could do it way easier and get the same or better result. AI is a beautiful thing that is taking us by storm. Is it scary sometimes? But it's a powerful tool. And if you start to use systems, automations, AI, you start to use the tools at your fingertips. It's simple as a freaking FaceTime video, what Judy just described, to do a walkthrough on a house. Back in 2014, when I started doing this, I would get in the car, drive to every house, get a paper purchase agreement. But 2020, all that changed. Virtual closings became common, and many people were forced to do the virtual game. So now it became normal. So for any of you listening to this, ask yourself, what's the highest and best use of my time? What's the action that I can take today to get to X number? Maybe you have a freedom number. What's the action I can take to get to X dollars a month? What's the action I can take to hit 10, 20, 30, 50, 100K in the next 30 days, depending on where you are in life? All right, let's see if we have any questions in the chats. Mr. Bill Welsh says hello to you.
Hi,
Jerry
Bill.
Owens. What's up, Jerry? All right, Bill says, great to see you. How do you figure and split on profits? Oh, this was typed in back when you were talking about your team of 3.
Well, first thing, if you're looking at profits, and it's going to depend on the property and how much that you bring in. Sometimes it's as much as half. Sometimes it's 25% of the non-refundable option deposit that comes in up front. That's after you take out what your closing costs were. So, let's say we got in 30, but I spent 15, or I won't spend that much. Let's say it was 2,000 in closing. Then we had 28 left. And depending on the property and how much time was involved in marketing, one like that, it may be a $5,000 that I pay somebody just to dispo it. Usually about 5 is the top that I pay for dispo. There are some people that I think set up and do half. That's also, I pay a little less if I've got one that was just really skinny. But you'll have some skinny ones.
So I think the important note is, again, it comes back to being creative and finding out what people want and seeing if you can help them grow.
Right.
We have an incredible team, and every single one of them has special, unique skills, and they get paid in accordance to the value they bring and the deals we do together, the projects they're working on, whatever it looks like. So for all of you listening to this, figure out how you can be around great people who are fun to hang around, who are winners, and surround yourself. That's what Judy does. She's part of our incredible Freedom Life Mastermind family, and she surrounded herself by winners who inspire her, who help do deals, and she helps them do deals, and everybody wins. But you're in a container of success and a mindset of constant abundance. But before we wrap, what is any more words of wisdom or things that are heavy on your mind you want to share with our beautiful live listeners right now and our replay listeners that will be listening in for coming days and months?
Going back to that question, there's a whole lot more goes into what you compensate them for as to what did they do. Were they the one that took it from the time that it was written up as a contract? Have they followed it all the way through and taken care of what had to be done with getting the underwriting done and everything done like that? Have they put out signs and carried through everything, met people at the door? Or have they just posted something online a few times and made a few phone calls? So depending on the degree of that person's involvement is going to determine if it's like $1,000 or more per property. So it's not a set amount, and it's not, she always pays this. No, it depends on how involved and what all they did with what all they took off my plate. That's what they're compensated for.
So they get paid in direct accordance to the value they add to you, AKA the marketplace.
Absolutely. And I think that's what, if you're looking, that's what you're going to find. And going from here, just if you have a strength, build on it. If you have an area that's not your strength, look to help somebody else in the area that you're strong while you're learning there. It's the old thing. What is it? Feed the chickens while you're hunting elephants.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Judy, thank you so much for sharing this, for sharing your time and your wisdom. It was so awesome to get to hang out with you last week, and I know we'll be doing it again here in a few weeks, and I'm excited for that. Always good to see you. Thank you for being on, and thank you for the value that you constantly provide to those around you. You're such a bright piece of our real estate Freedom Life Mastermind family. What is the way for anybody who wants to be in touch with you? How do they reach you? How do they find you? Where do they follow you?
They can find me on Facebook under my name. I probably need to improve that. It doesn't look like a real estate because I don't put it out anywhere that I'm really big in real estate at the moment, other than where I am in your circle. So they can go there.
She's a silent killer.
We won't go there. Part of that actually does go back to I came through. I'm going to share another little bit of wisdom.
Please do.
And some of them out there are going to be, it will strike a chord. I came through and my majors are chemistry and math. I worked as a forensic chemist, which I was the second female in the whole state of Kentucky and the first chemist to go in as a professional in the lab. I'm working with mainly state police, sheriff's departments, local PDs, and everybody else in the lab is male. You don't spout off, you know the answer until you're sure.
That's a
so you learn to kind of work silently in the background until you had all the details worked out. So I don't put it out there publicly that I'm big in real estate. If you know me, you'll figure it out. But if not, it's not important. And so that made a difference there. Even then when we came on and we did a lot of ironwork and we had the same thing. With that, I was working mainly with architects and with builders. And so I can remember one time specifically that we were dealing with a builder and they all looked kind of funny because I did all the measuring. They didn't know I had the math background, but I'm going out measuring and doing the design. And they kind of like, that woman's out here. Well, it was a complicated project. We measured it. Bruce took it back out, drilled the hole, set it in, and it fit perfectly. I wasn't back. I was there at the front end. I wasn't back. I go back on the next job and somebody says something and he looks over at the others. He said, get her whatever she needs. It'll be right. So I had to, just the silence of it, I earned the respect.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't toot your horn until you know what you're doing. Be confident, learn the process, and just do it right.
That's good advice. That's good wisdom. And I thank you for sharing that. And I think you're a great example of quiet confidence, yet you know how to get things done. And you exemplify that well, and it's a beautiful thing. And thank you again just for being who you are, Judy. I know you're an inspiration to many in our community. I know there's going to be many more who watch this and get a lot of value from it. Thank you to everyone who's on with us now. And Judy, I'll see you very soon in person. Everyone else, I see you tomorrow on Real Estate Wednesday on the Daily Live. All right. Bye for now. Bye, Judy.
Bye.